Good evening and welcome to the kitchen table on Radio Fodder. We begin tonight by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Boonwurrung peoples of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which this program is being broadcast, and pay respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We recognise First Nations peoples as the first storytellers, poets, and artists to practice on this land, and intend for tonight's program to continue respectfully in this tradition. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
Good evening and welcome to the kitchen table on Radio Fodder, the dinner time show where you join us for good food, music and conversation.
Hi, Hugo.
Hello, Eva. How you doing?
I'm doing very well tonight. We have an exciting episode coming up, or perhaps a chaotic episode.
It's both. And, you know, there's excitement and chaos.
There sure is. So to preface and explain the song you just heard, which was My Sweet Lord from George Harrison.
Correct.
Last week, or maybe a fortnight ago, sometime recently.
Really, some time ago, as we were just saying before, time is just flying right now.
At the moment. Who knows what day it is?
Yeah.
Well, it's a Tuesday because that's
it
when we have our
Tuesday.
radio show. Hugo and I and Rosa had dinner. We made dal. It was delicious. It was a recipe from Rosa's mum, and
which in turn I think is from Tan from Queer Eye.
It is.
I believe. And
it is, isn't it?
in fact, we happened to be watching that last night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was the dal mentioned?
The dal wasn't mentioned. I think this is one of those social media kind of Instagram recipes, but it's we've made a few Instagram recipes together.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some dodgy ones, but that dal is actually a spectacular Instagram recipe.
Oh, it's amazing. I have the recipe written out here. I'll talk you through the basics. So it's a lot of lentils. We were all surprised by this. 3 cups of red lentils. You've got some ground coriander, turmeric, garam masala, ground cumin, the usual dal spices, some water, and you're kind of cooking it up, making a normal dal, letting the lentils absorb the liquid and the spices. But the amazing trick for this one is that you also, before you serve it up, cook about a head of garlic, minced, cut up in a huge amount of butter with some dried chili and black mustard seeds. And then you pour it over the cooked dal and the lentils, and mix that buttery, flavorful deliciousness in. And it just made the most scrumptious combination, didn't it?
It's beautiful. I mean, where can you go wrong? About half a stick of butter and
a whole head of garlic.
Yeah, I mean, more garlic cloves than there are under the sun.
Yeah.
Just absolutely exquisite. And yeah, when you mix in that masala with the just your enormous pot of dal lentils, you just get fantastic rich flavor, which made for such a lovely hearty meal to share together.
And as we were sitting there sharing this delicious meal, we were all just kind of, oh, yum, this is so good. Oh my gosh, we're such great cooks. And then somehow we got into talking about music, and we were still in this haze from all the flavors. And
the flavor haze.
The flays. And we were in the flays, and we just thought, oh my gosh, what about music that conjures up certain flavors? Music that has a flavor to it.
Music has flavor.
So that's our episode for the week.
Yeah, and like you said, Eva, that was My Sweet Lord by George Harrison, which I picked to introduce this evening's episode. It is maybe a flavorful song, but the reason why I picked it was because it is always playing at Ratty Chai Bar on Brunswick Street in Fitzroy, where we have also shared fantastic dal together before.
The delicious not so hungry plate that
Oh
you
my
can
God.
get there for like, I think it's $11 or something, and it's so enormous. You can get so many curries, and it is for someone who is very hungry.
Yeah, certainly. Complete misnomer. Anyway,
Should we continue with some other songs
yeah,
to begin that, recall that
that's
amazing
right. So
dal
we
we
were having
made?
this conversation and we started naturally with, okay, music as flavor, music that conjures a meal. Well, what songs would conjure that meal, the dal that we had just had? So Eva, this is your first selection for a dal conjuring meal, is that right?
That's correct. It might be a little bit on the nose, but it's not just the title, it's also the sound and the grooviness and the bellyful, roundness and warmth of the song. So it's Yummy, Yummy, Yummy from Julie London. Let's hear it.
Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy, and I feel like loving you. Love you such a sweet thing, good enough to heat things, and that's just what I'm gonna do. Ooh, love to hold you, ooh, love to kiss you, ooh, love, I love it so. Ooh, love you sweeter, sweeter than sugar. Ooh, love, I won't let you go. Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy. And as silly as it may seem, the loving that you're giving is what keeps me living. Peaches and cream, kinda like sugar, kinda like spices, kinda like what you do. Kinda sounds funny, but love you, honey, I love you. Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy that your love can satisfy. Love, you're such a sweet thing, good enough to heat things, and sweet thing that ain't no lie. Ooh, love to hold you, ooh, love to kiss you, ooh, love, I love it so. Ooh, love you sweeter, sweeter than sugar. Ooh, love, I won't let you go. Oh, no. Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy, and I feel like loving you. Yummy, yummy, yummy,
You're listening to The Kitchen Table on Radio Fodder. That was Yummy, Yummy, Yummy from Julie London. A perfect summation of my state after eating that dal. It was very yummy. And I think jazz, bluesy, sort of groovy tunes are the perfect... we were really struggling to find songs that summed up this dal initially, because there's something sharp about the spices, the actual warmth of the dish. There's the garlicky, almost bitter flavors. There's a lot going on there flavor-wise, but
So kind of on the nose, but also I feel like the aesthetic of that song is also kind of partially drawing in the warmth, the heartiness of the dal.
very much.
Thank you for talking there while I corrected the studio technical issues.
That's okay. That's okay.
So I brought my suggestion
Mhm.
up for a dal conjuring track while we
Yes.
were sitting together sharing said dal. So in fact, even if this is a tenuous link, it's now relevant because I've placed the two things in situ. So if I might suggest my suggestion, it is Billie Holiday's track or version of the song Autumn in New York.
Now, this was disputed whether this was a Dahl Conjuring song at the time, but
okay.
we can let our listeners decide.
I mean, I'll accept dispute, but that's a good idea, Eva. Let's let the listeners decide.
Autumn in New York, why does it seem so inviting? Autumn in New York, it spells the thrill of first nighting. Glittering crowds and shimmering clouds and canyons of steel, they're making me feel I'm home. It's autumn in New York that brings the promise of new love. Autumn in New York is often mingled with pain. Dreamers with empty hands may sigh for exotic lands. It's autumn in New York, it's good to live it again. Autumn in New York, the gleaming rooftops at sundown. Autumn in New York, it lifts you up when you're let down. Jaded Rouet and gay divorcee who lunch at the Ritz will tell you that it's divine. This autumn in New York transforms the slums into Mayfair. Autumn in New York, you'll need no castle in Spain. Lovers that bless the dark on benches in Central Park greet autumn in New York. It's good to live it
Autumn in New York by Billie Holiday. What a beautiful kind of emotive track.
Her voice is just heavenly.
I know, such a lovely recording.
And if only that was, I have a piano in my living room in my house. If only someone had been behind us giving a rendition of that while we were eating that dal, that would have been, I can picture it.
Yeah, no, that'd be brilliant. That one, Autumn in New York, it's a jazz standard. It was composed in 1934 by Vernon Duke, and has a whole litany of famous versions. That one is definitely my most favorite, most played. Other very famous ones include Frank Sinatra's 1947 version. There's also ones by Charlie Parker, Louis Armstrong. I think there's a Chet Baker one. But that one we heard there from Billie Holiday from 1956.
She stands up.
Traveling many, many decades through the sound waves to us now. And I think my idea there for it conjuring Dal was the warmth that it kind of that sits within you when you enjoy that song, when you kind of sink into it and it wraps around you and you kind of just...
It is all-encompassing,
yeah,
isn't
truly.
it?
And I like a good Dal to do the exact same thing. And it was a kind of cold, dark night when we were sitting in your front room eating that Dal Iava. And it felt very appropriate to me. So if you disagree, you can follow us on Instagram at thekitchentable.radio and send your disagreements to our inbox.
And also send your Dal conjuring tunes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Like my little segue there.
It was beautiful. Segueing again
Truly.
to, I guess, a second point of interest that came up.
The most important element of this show this evening.
Hugo is a big fan.
Big fan.
Of Ratatouille.
Truly.
Which we were fortunate enough to see at the Nova. They replayed it last year.
Ever get to see Ratatouille replayed on the big screen? Oh, yes.
Life-changing.
Jump at that opportunity. Exquisite. Such a heartwarming film. And that film engages Remy the rat, the protagonist, engages in basically what we're doing here tonight. This kind of process of synaesthesia, of tasting food and discovering the sounds, colours, other senses that it might conjure up. And it's summed up really beautifully in this early section in the film, which we're going to play the audio for you now, so you can hear a bit of what we're thinking.
Oh, Cousteau was right. Oh, yeah. Oh, amazing. Each flavor was totally unique. But combine one flavor with another, and something new was created. I brought you something to... Ah! No! Spit that out right now! Oh, I have got to teach you about food. Close your eyes. Now, take a bite of this. No! Don't just hork it down!
Too late.
Here. Chew it slowly. Only think about the taste. See?
Not really.
Creamy, salty, sweet, and oaky nuttiness. You detect that?
Oh, I'm detecting nuttiness.
Close your eyes. Now taste this. Whole different thing, right? Sweet, crisp, slight tang on the finish.
Okay.
Now, try them together.
Okay. I think I'm getting a little something there. It might be the nuttiness.
See?
Could be the tang.
That's it. Now, imagine every great taste in the world being combined into infinite combinations. Tastes that no one has tried yet. Discoveries to be made.
I think.
Uh-huh.
You lost me again.
Ratatouille there. Some very important discussion going on about synesthesia in cinema and food.
I think the recommendation to chew it slowly, only think about the taste, is a good recommendation for our listeners for the upcoming music as well.
Absolutely. And I love what's going on where they're taking little bites of cheese and strawberries, and then behind them the world fades to black, and there are these swirling, colourful patterns and this kind of jazzy backing track that kind of seeps in there.
And these just little bursts and sparks of,
Yeah.
ooh, flavour.
Fantastic. I'm throwing around this word synesthesia. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, but I was interested to get a dictionary definition. It is a perceptual phenomenon in which stimulation of one sensory or cognitive pathway leads to involuntary experiences in a second sensory or cognitive pathway.
And I feel like we've talked about it on this show before.
Quite possibly, yeah. And it kind of, I think it we're most familiar with it in the sense of certain people who experience like often color connotations with words, or like the idea of being able to hear color. But I was actually really interested to learn that it's much more diverse than that. It's kind of just any sensory input that gives rise to another one. So any flavor that gives rise to an auditory input, like we're doing this evening. I think this jazzy backing track that was creeping in there is really kind of appropriate to this idea of flavor. When I was thinking of flavorsome songs today, in preparation for the show, I couldn't help but coming back to various kind of jazzy songs. They seem to be incredibly flavorsome. I don't know.
I also gravitated towards some jazz.
Yeah, so without further ado, I'd like to play, it's a bit cliche, but it's one of my absolute favorite jazz songs. It is Take 5 by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Dave Brubeck with Take 5. Fun.
So groovy.
And you know what? Piquant. That's my description, I reckon. That's the flavor that comes from this. I think it could even be a bit umami. There's some sourness.
Savouriness.
There's a citrus note. They're kind of, I think, a bit of an explosive kind of fruitiness, especially citrus. I feel like I'm eating a finger lime. You know, too far of a reach.
Too far. That song is not finger limes. It's got something too kind of calm and like calmly toned about it. I don't know.
Bit of caramel in the background.
Ooh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I'm more for caramel than the finger
The
limes.
the bass especially is kind of caramel. I feel like a few of the kind of the accented horn sections, few little squirts of lemon juice maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, you're listening to The Kitchen Table, where we are talking about Flavour.
Hey, I haven't even noticed the fact that how on theme to our radio show title this is.
Oh my goodness. This is all intentional.
Wow. So meta.
Yes, absolutely. And if you are enjoying this evening's content, do check out our Instagram page at thekitchentable.radio. So, moving on to a different flavor for a different song and a different time of day, I reckon. I'm thinking about the song Pass the Dutchie by Musical Youth. Really upbeat, positive, I'm thinking jaunty. It's not jaunty, but it's kind of like very energetic song. I reckon this is a sweet song. I reckon there's popcorn, possibly like fairy floss. I'm thinking this is a sort of song that plays at like a show, like a royal show, a fair, a school fete. This is the kind of fun that is encapsulated in some sort of school fete. Let's hear Pass the Dutchie by... Who's it by? Musical Youth.
This generation rules the nation with version. Music answer the food of love. Songs to really make you rub and scrub. Dang ba dang biddly bang biddly bang. Bang biddly bang. I say
pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
give me the music, make me jump and prance.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
jump in the dance.
It was a cool and lonely, breezy afternoon.
How does it feel when you got no food?
I could feel it 'cause it was the month of
How
June.
does it feel when you got no food?
So I left my gate and went out for a
How
walk.
does it feel when you got no food?
As I passed the dreadlocks camp, I heard them
How
say,
does it feel when you got no food?
pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
Give me the music, make me jump and prance.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
rock inna the dance. Bang bang biddling bang biddly bang 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 biddling bang biddly bang.
So I stopped to find out what was going
How
on.
does it feel when you got no food?
'Cause the spirit of Jah, you know he leads you
How
on.
does it feel when you got no food?
There was a ring of jets and the session was there in
How
swing.
does it feel when you got no food?
And you could feel the chill as I seen and heard them
How
say,
does it feel when you got no food?
pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go
Give
bun.
me the music, make me jump and prance.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
rock inna the dance. Me say listen to the drum and me say listen to the bass. Give me little music, make me wind up me waist. Me say listen to the drum and me say listen to the bass. Give me little music, make me wind up me waist. I say
Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
give me the music, make me jump and prance.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
rock inna the dance. You play it on the radio, and so me say we a go hear it on the stereo. And so me know we a go play it on the disco. And so me say we a go hear it on the stereo. Oh.
Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
Give me the music, make me jump and prance.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
rock inna the dance.
On the left hand side. On the left hand side.
Pass the Duchy by Musical Youth here on Radio Fodder on the kitchen table. I reckon a sweet song. I'm thinking popcorn. I think it's like buttery popcorn and it's popping with the beat of that lovely reggae track.
I hear it.
And it's poppy as well, like it's a pop reggae track. Maybe I'm getting too far here. I mentioned that because this is like one of my favorite music facts. This is that track is a cover by Musical Youth, and it was originally by the Mighty Diamonds. What you heard there, Pass the Duchy, Duchy, a piece of slang, a shortening of Dutch oven, right? So it's pass the pot of food. So relevant here to, sharing food. Pass the Duchy, pass the food to the left.
Share it around.
But we're all familiar with the connotation of pass the Duchy. And our suspicion is correct. I don't know. The original song is by the Mighty Diamonds. It's called Pass the Coochie. Coochie is a smoking apparatus. And that track is arguably a much better track. And it's actually just a reggae song. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a taste of that.
A snippet.
Just a snippet here.
Pass the coachie on the left hand side. Pass the coachie on the left hand side.
So there's Pass the Coochie by the Mighty Diamonds.
I love those exhalations,
know.
which are just like that ultimate satisfaction.
Truly. And as you can hear, just going in the background there, much more reggae, much more just kind of a slimmed down, more kind of simplistic version of the song, not anywhere near as poppy, and I argue therefore not anywhere near as sweet. That's much more of a herbaceous song, I suppose you'd say. In fact, one of the lyrics that was changed, we hear in Musical Youth's version, how does it feel when you've got no food? Well, the Mighty Diamonds say, how does it feel when you've got no herb? So we're thinking here more about a herbaceous kind of flavor, only natural. Anyway, I'm getting too far down the rabbit hole here of flavor in music. Eva, over to you. Tell me, what is your flavorsome song suggestions for this evening?
Well, I liked what you said about the Pass the Duchy being more poppy and therefore more sweet, and I would agree. I was looking through my music and trying to think of music that conjured up different flavors. The first thing I'll say is that I'm like my music catalog is definitely dominated by sweet and umami.
Sweet and umami.
There's not a lot of spice or sour in there. But this sweet song I found, the first one I'm going to play is Strawberry Letter 23 from Shuggie Otis, 1971. I mean, I think, he wrote it originally. There's another version of it that's quite popular. But this song just, like Pass the Duchy, it more so even has these bursts of just like sweet sound, like when you bite into a piece of fruit and there's just that initial, like a green apple, that burst of sugar and energy that comes with it. So
can we expect a bit of tartness? You're saying green apple.
Yeah, maybe this is synesthesia because I've got actually no way that let's just hear the song.
Let's hear the song.
Hello, my love, I heard a kiss from you. Red magic sat and playing it too. All through the morning rain, I guess the sun doesn't shine. Rainbows and waterfalls
That was Strawberry Letter 23 from Shuggy Otis. You're listening to The Kitchen Table on Radio Fodder. It's about 6:45, and we're talking about Flavour. And that was a very, very sweet song to me. Just pops of bursting sugary
and there's
something.
that absolute burst of flavour
towards the end.
Yeah, certainly, where that all of the instrumentation
coalesce,
all comes in this big wave of sound. Yes, flavour.
It was
absolutely.
like the energy hit you get from sugar. Now I'm going to quickly move on to another sweet little ditty that I used to listen to when I was a very small kid in the car as part of this. It was like some compilation of songs for kids. And I loved this because it's about ice cream. And this is, I guess, a nod to the fact that after we had this amazing dal, perhaps less majestic, we went and got Froyo, which is mine and Rosa, and secretly Hugo, but he doesn't want to admit it. Our new, obsession, fascination. It's a strange dessert that has a strange culture around it, which almost seems to be one of slight shame. I heard some people having lunch the other day talking about getting froyo, and they were like, oh yeah, it's so embarrassing, all the people waiting outside.
Wow.
Because there is always this enormous line.
It does have a kind of cult-like status.
But the line outside of it, it's kind of, you get into the line and you're in disbelief that you're willing to wait so long.
Well, it's like going to a nightclub, but it's just for frozen yogurt.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And anyway, this song is about filling it up and just going with the flow and getting excited about, cold, sweet little things. So let's hear it.
Beautiful.
I've got an ice cream cone, I'm gonna fill it up all the way to the bottom. Chocolate, strawberry, maybe vanilla with sprinkles if I've got 'em. 1 scoop, 2 scoop, 3 scoop, 4. If the cone was bigger, then I'd have more. It's cold and sweet and such a treat, I wanna live on Ice Cream Street. If you're walking into the forest, you can only walk halfway in, 'cause if you take just one more step, you'll be walking out again. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4. If I lived here, I'd live outdoors. It's cool and green and I can't see the forest for the trees. Fill it up all the way to the bottom. I'm not ashamed, oh, and I'm not too proud. Half remembered, yeah, but it's half forgotten. Halfway in is halfway out. Seems like some things used to be big back when I was smaller. Some things change by staying the same. Every day I get a little taller. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4. I'm farther and farther away from the floor. Up to the bottom, down to the top. I keep growing till I stop. Fill it up all the way to the bottom. I'm not ashamed, oh, and I'm not too proud. Half remembered, oh, but it's half forgotten. Halfway in is halfway out. Half remembered, yeah, but it's half forgotten. Halfway in is halfway out.
A gorgeous little philosophical tune about, the pleasures of ice cream and life in general,
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Halfway out. Oh, the lucky kids who got to grow up listening to that song,
Lucky you.
Lucky me.
And sorry, do tell me the name of the artist.
Yeah, so that was Fill It Up from Trout Fishing in America.
Fantastic.
Great band name.
And what an unlikely name, especially for, well, what is ostensibly a children's musician. I don't know.
Children fish.
Children fish.
Do they? I don't know. Moving on to another flavour. I was thinking about something sour, and to be honest, I'm not sure whether this is a sour song or a bitter song. But I'll Never Fall in Love Again, the cover by Dionne Warwick, is just this, both lyrically and sonically, of quite a sour, like groovy, but there's something sharp and kind of bitter about the sound of this song. And let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
What do you get when you fall in love? A guy with a pin to burst your bubble. That's what you get for your trouble. I'll never fall in love again. I'll never fall in love again. What do you get when you kiss a guy? You get another chance to catch pneumonia. Then you do, and never fall, never fall in love again. Don't you know that I'll never fall in love again? Don't tell me what it's all about, 'cause I've been there and I'm glad I'm out of those chains that bind you. That is why I'm here to remind you. What do you get when you fall in love? You only get lies and pain and sorrow. So for at least until tomorrow, I'll never fall in love again. No, I'll never fall in love again. I'm out of those chains that bind you. That is why I'm here to remind you. What do you get when you fall in love? You only get lies and pain and sorrow. So for at least until tomorrow, I'll never fall in love again. Don't you know that I'll never fall in love again? I'll never fall in love
Dionne Warwick, I'll Never Fall in Love Again. Poor thing. There's almost something sweet to it with, she's got a like, I imagine when I listen to that song, a woman with a really saccharine smile, like serving up a lemon tart, just kind of with this bitter, angry, quiet, suppressed rage, and the sharpness of the lemon tart.
Yeah, certainly. You know, they talk about in coffee tasting this like this spectrum of sour to bitterness.
Yeah.
You can either have coffee that is generally somewhere on the spectrum between one or the other. So in a sense, that track might encompass the whole spectrum.
The whole spectrum of coffee.
Maybe.
Wow.
Even and completely irrelevant to coffee.
It was released in 1970, originally composed for a musical called Promises, Promises, which only increases the sense of bitterness to me. Someone broke a promise. All right, for our last musical song of this evening, musical song.
Musical song.
Ooh, well, no, it's a flavorful song as well. I'm going for something that's a little bit umami, and it's the magic from Jonah's Policewoman. And I think this song is the magic that is umami, when just everything combines and it's just, oh, yummy. So without further ado, the magic.
I don't wanna tell you what you already know. This is me that you're talking to, and anything I say I have said before. When will it be enough? Then something in my mind shifts, and I slip on my hips, and now I find that I'm face to face with none other than me. I have got the mirror up against the marquee, and all it reads is I am fine, I am divine. But there's a wild ride going on behind the sign. I'm looking for the magic, I'm feeling for the right way out of my mind. Looking only out for me to release me from the maze I'm making myself. Looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic. Now I don't wanna come off like I am, I'm losing my head, but the shadow inside of me is begging for directions to illicit city, oh illicit city. But I wanna do better than survive this life, cause it is a dream. I wonder if the wild animals living in me, well, will they ever find freedom? And all I fear is what I fear, my Leviathan. I feel it rising up to cut my ocean open. I'm looking for the magic, I'm feeling for the right way out of my mind. Looking only out for me to release me from the maze I'm making myself. Looking for the magic, I'm feeling for the right way out of my mind. Looking only out for me to release me from the maze I'm making myself. Looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic. I want you back. I want you back. I want you back. I wanna be back. My shadow, my spider window in the wall. Looking for the magic, I'm feeling for the right way out of my mind. Looking only out for me to release me from the maze I'm making myself. I'm looking for the magic, I'm feeling for the right way out of my mind. Looking only out for me to release me from the maze I'm making myself. Looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic, I'm looking for the magic.
That was The Magic from Jonah's the Policewoman, looking for the alchemy to release her from the maze she's making herself, and perhaps umami is that alchemy. A delicious sounding song that perfectly rounds out our evening of flavorful music.
Yes, certainly. And even a kind of anthemic tone to round us out on. Very, very well picked. Absolutely. Well, listeners, that does bring us towards the end of our discussion on flavoursome synesthesia, you might say, on sound waves that provoke the sensory response of flavor.
We've been through a lot. We've talked about dal, we've talked about ratatouille, and we've talked about jazz. We've
Yeah,
gone to a lot of corners of
basically all of the most important things that there are.
Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, do tune in next week. We missed last week because it was Anzac Day.
Yeah,
but we will
public
be
holiday.
here every week from now on. You'll never miss us again.
We promise, apart from the other 2 hiatuses that we went on.
To never
We
leave.
promise. And we do hope, I'm putting together a back catalogue at the moment. I think you'll find us soon with a presence on YouTube where you can listen to our back catalogue.
Yeah, the episodes from this year that you may have missed.
Most certainly. You have been listening to The Kitchen Table on Radio Fodder. Tune in again, 6 p.m. every Tuesday. We promise. And for that, I think is all.
Oh, and again, feel free to get in contact or follow us on thekitchentable.radio on Instagram. There'll be updates there about us and our music.
Beautiful. Well, good night, Eva.
Good night, Hugo.
See you next week.
The clock says it's time to close now. I know